Hello there, Site-42 staff, as well as those of you from the greater SCP Foundation community. And welcome to another Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site-42. As always, I am Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director here at Site-42 of the SCP Foundation. And as I have done for the last nearly 10 months and counting, because the daily stream streak must remain strong, I am here to open my office doors to you, the SCP Foundation staff, to answer your burning questions about this dark and mysterious place of employment we call the SCP Foundation. So whether you have questions about the anomalies we contain, the staff that contain them, the groups of interest who try to stop us from containing them, or hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of the SCP Foundation's purview, perhaps from a different multiverse or pataphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom. Either way, we are here for the next 2 hours, and maybe longer if the stream is feeling zesty. So, before I begin the standard Q&A, let's go and do some housekeeping. First and foremost, Zenith Cosplays, thank you for being our #1 most punctual member of today's Containment Hazard Assessment team, i.e., congratulations on being first chatter. Secondarily, Bombus ADHD, happy birthday to you. Be careful of any birthday presents that may be around the Foundation. We have a couple of anomalies you do not want to receive for your birthday. But grab yourself a slice of cake on your way past the commissary. Now, Zenith, Chester Factory, Researcher Last, Bombus ADHD, Dr. Frogman, Silent Follower, Amber, Senior Researcher Alex, Aoki, Anna Carson, everyone who I've just named, thank you for being here punctually, and thank you for being members of today's Containment Hazard Assessment team and members of Site-42 here on YouTube. We appreciate your membership and your service. Meanwhile, Intern Elkins, Intern Bentley, Intern Avery, Intern Kylor, and Intern Harrow. You guys, thank you for being here punctually, and thank you for being here just for being you. So, for our stream subject, we have a couple things to get into. First and foremost, let us not forget the sponsor of today's stream. The sponsor of today's stream, blinding me as it is me myself, Site-42, because we are still celebrating the release of the Reservoir Docs t-shirt. The Reservoir Docs t-shirt featuring Doctors Alto Clef, Kane Pathos Crow, Theron Sherman, Jeremiah Cimmerian, Benjamin Kondraki, and William Wallace Weddle is available at our support link, beacons.ai/site42. And so you can get your Reservoir Docs television shirt. That is what the T in t-shirt stands for, right? Television shirt. I believe we should be watching the SCP Foundation on television, which would allow it to have more television shirts. Anyways, thank you, Site-42, for sponsoring us here at Site-42. Now back to the housekeeping. Stream subject #1 today is a shorty. Which is, after watching the Super Bowl on this weekend, which, by the way, the Serpent's Hand has seemingly held the Superb Owl in custody for a short time in one of the off-site records rooms so they could protect the sports section of the Wanderer's Library. It's still not going well, and they're having a lot of debate because, oh yes, we have to contain them, but then are we no better than the jailers? Seriously, they need to get their ish together, I'm telling you. But while I was watching the Super Bowl, I noticed a lot of the commercials were about gambling. Gambling, crypto, all sorts of high-risk, very low-reward strategies that people are easily addicted to. It's important to remember, as a community of artists, we are a little bit more up here than your general populace. We're thinkers, we're creatives, But sometimes that makes you think, oh, I'm too smart to fall for that trick. I wouldn't fall for crypto. I wouldn't fall for a gambling app. I wouldn't get suckered into Scientology. No one is immune to propaganda. Now, as the SCP Foundation, that's very good news for us. It means that we are able to do our job disinforming the public of the anomalous. But it does lead to our status as those doing the propaganda to think, oh, we are smarter than the propaganda. And we are not. The Foundation has the Records and Information Security. What does the A stand for at the end of RISA? Oh man, amnestics are a hell of a drug. RISA, SCP, Foundation Database. Record Keeping and Information Security Administration. You think I couldn't think of administration? Aye. And so yes, those people are here to keep us in line with our information, because even we cannot be trusted with every piece of information in the Foundation. Classification, compartmentalization, this is how we take care of ourselves. Long story short, let me give you a worrisome story about gambling from the SCP Foundation. In SCP-142, codename the One-Armed Bandit. The One-Armed Bandit closely resembles a 1940s Black Beauty branded slot machine as produced by the Mill Corporation during that era. The only observed irregularity in the external construction of 142 is found in its coin slot of the device, which has been modified to accept any item that will fit in a cylindrical space 5 centimeters in length and 2.45 centimeters in diameter. And trust me, it doesn't go in the square hole. Don't even start. When any object is dropped into the chute, the person doing the dropping becomes a Stage 1 victim of SCP-142. Human subjects allowed to interact with 142 are affected by the object in 3 unique stages. Stage 1 begins immediately upon direct or indirect physical contact with the lever of the device. Subjects demonstrate mild giddiness and demonstrate a greatly diminished sense of the passage of time. If the subject is not exhausted, the supply of betting material, since it's not just money, you could bet anything. If they, where was I in the book when I stopped to explain that? If the subject is not exhausted the supply of betting material after 28 to 34 minutes of play, he or she will gradually enter the next stage. Subject at Stage 2 appear compelled to bet larger and larger quantities of provided betting items, 5 to 20% of remaining material, until supplies are exhausted. Subjects also express the delusion that they are winning more frequently as a result of their altered betting strategy. In spite of this belief, the frequency of payout seems to be reduced at this stage. Finally, at Stage 3, once all betting material is lost, typically 10 to 12 minutes following the onset of Stage 2, subjects at this stage express a strong aversion to 142 and will not continue to operate the device unless compelled with physical force. So, okay, they no longer want to gamble. That's good, correct? Subjects also express a moderate aversion to any action which would cause an object to pass through a hole, and express a strong irrational fear that they will waste or lose something should they engage in the offending activities. Specific examples vary by subject but include passing through doorways, placing objects into cabinets, bags, or any other storage medium, use of sinks, showers, or other plumbing fixtures with drains, removing and or putting on clothing, sexual intercourse, and most commonly, eating. Roughly 62% of subjects that reach Stage 3 will expire due to starvation or malnutrition unless actively compelled to eat or provided nutrients through other means. And so, keep an eye on that. If you gamble, you might die of starvation. Let alone the fact that what's the phrase I'm looking for? Gambling in a non-anomalous sense is known to be both the hidden addiction as well as one of the deadlier addictions, due to the fact that when you drink too much, when you smoke too much, these things have a deleterious effect on your body over time that make you sick, that you end up in a hospital. If you OD on something, you may end up in the hospital or you may end up dead. But gambling does not harm you physically. It harms you debt-wise, to the point where you might yourself if you get far enough in debt. And so, the deleterious effects of gambling are more subtle and much more violent overall. And so, keep an eye on yourselves. Do not get sucked into the gambling culture that has taken over most of the YouTube and Twitch streaming space. Note that Site42 will never take a gambling ad. It's not good for your health. We don't want those kind of frickin' sponsors. We're here to inspire you to make art, not inspire you to ruin your bank account. Intern Harvey. How long have you been doing the SCP stuff, bro? Well, I got familiar with the SCP Foundation about 13 years ago when I was utilizing the entities in a D&D game I was running. Further than that, I don't remember how I actually found out about SCP, so I consider that my starting point of familiarity. And then about 10 years ago, we just had our 10-year anniversary back in June, actually, is when I started on SCP YouTube. And SCP TikTok started in 2020 during the pandemic. So depending on where you're at, I've been with the community for 13 years, YouTubing for 10 years, TikToking for 5 or 6 years. Also, one more subject before I get into the standard Q&A. Today, Shaggy Dreadlocks, creator of When Day Breaks, as well as the typical person who is hosting SCP Anthology each October, we have a short teaser / aesthetic trailer for the 2026 Anthology. Now, I did not know that SCP Anthologies had aesthetic trailers. Nor does this say what the theme is in the description. I have not watched it yet. So we are going to expose ourselves to this trailer for the SCP Anthology 2026. Now, let me mute our music and let us enjoy the works of Shaggy Dreadlocks. Backing away from the screen, turning you away from my forehead. Here we go. Play.
Goblins and demons, banshees of dream. I see the goblin man holding a key. Clicking and clacking, he unlocks the door. Boogaboo, boogaboo, he eats one more.
I prefer containing monsters to celebrating them. Shaggy, I'm just saying.
I have a body, legs to stretch, even if it does decompose in 3 minutes. This is the best 3 minutes I've had this week.
I know.
Hold on, that's a D-class job. You don't know what it's capable of.
You worried about it?
Whoa! Jump scare. I thought it was over. Okay. You can go to the YouTube channel Horrible Audio. Horrible Audible. Horrible Audible on YouTube is hosting that set there, if you would like to check it out. I am returning to chat. Intern Akira, welcome to Site-42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. And a big shout out to Shaggy Dreadlocks for that excellent aesthetic trailer. A reminder, that is the SCP Anthology 2026 is the name of the video. Horrible Audible is the name of the YouTube channel. It has gained 14 subscribers since this video came out. Shaggy might need a couple more subscribers. Looking good. Mon ami. I commented to boost the signal, and I hit the like button because I'm here to help and signal boost. Are those clips from There Is No Anti-Memetics Division? Yes, Dr. Frogman. Within the anthology trailer, we had clips from There Is No Anti-Memetics Division by Andrea Joshua Asnikar, the SCP-096 short film from Mr. Clay, SCP Black Meridian from Altavision, SCP The Corpse from Crawford Films, SCP Static from Paranormal Declassified, SCP-001 When Daybreak's Emergency Alarm by The Mordant, and SCP-2316 Field Trip by The Vulgan. You can see all of those links in the description of the SCP Anthology 2026 aesthetic trailer. They are all linked in the description for you to go check them out if you have not heard of one of those live-action SCP projects. You carried us through the pandemic with your videos. We're top-notch. Well, thank you very much, Intern Harvey. The SCP Foundation is a great playground. There is endless art being created, and there's always more to see, so it's always fun to take a dive into the SCP Foundation. Did you see SCP Gallionic? Dreamdoids, I have heard of it. Has there been an update on SCP Gallionic? I have not heard anything new from some studios in some time. What are they up to over at some studios? The final trailer dropped. Final teaser. Okay, here we go, people. We're doing another teaser. Here's 20 seconds. SCP Gallionic from some studios nearing 10K subs. They are working with at least one animator who worked on Jujutsu Kaisen, so we are being super legit about this. Let's see what we got. Ready? Loading. All right, well, we are 1 week from the Kickstarter. SCP Anime, yes, Aoki, I can't believe you haven't heard of this yet. We've talked about it multiple times. SCP Gallionic Final Teaser. We chatted with them a couple of months ago. Their Kickstarter is coming up. It is a, super legit project, which means it's going to have a super legit price tag. So, go over to SOM Studios, MTF, Sci-42, codename, Signal Boosters, has been deployed to this location. Commented and liked to boost. And so, SCP Galleonic's teaser trailer is up. Go to SOEM Studios, SOEM. It's pronounced some, but because it's spelled SOEM, I say SOEM. That way you guys know to look there. SOEM Studios, it's some studios that is putting on SCP Galleonic. They are on YouTube. Go comment, go like, signal boost the project. And those of you who are on the financial side of the SCP Foundation, make sure you are ready to donate, because I do know they are going to be asking for a rather large sum of money to make this a thing. So be ready. Don't get sticker shock on me now. Alright, backing out of this trailer. Closing that tab. I saw a Ko-Fi notification. Let me get that before I forget it exists. Fix Fishy, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member, and thank you for making the effort to go through the Site42 Ko-Fi, linked in the Beacons link in the chat that's pinned. The Ko-Fi takes 3% of your donation, where YouTube takes 30% of your super chats. So we greatly appreciate you making the effort and journey to the Ko-Fi. Grab yourself a sarsaparilla on your way past the commissary. The bartender SCP I was thinking about a couple days ago was SCP-3588. Thanks for the ambrosia salad, by the way. It was good for my centakivas. Now, did you read SCP-9006 or perhaps 9980? I know you liked 8980, so the latter might be your cup of tea. Well, I can bounce around these real quick, but I haven't read 9006 yet. We have been busy around Site42 recently. A lot going on. I will look at 9980 as a quick peek, since you recommended it. Boom. 9980 has adult content splash 4, sexually explicit, description of sexual acts. Sexual assault features non-consensual sexual acts. Gore, depiction of blood, gore, of a mutilation of body parts. And features severe abuse of power within a relationship. So, the SCP-9980 content warnings are fierce. Be aware, we're going into a rude place for a minute, it seems. I'm not going to read the whole article, obviously. It's a fairly long one, but I'm getting a quick summary for future reading. Some Studios is spelled SOEM, Tiger Claws Gaming. You are looking for SOEM, SOEM Studios on YouTube and Twitter. All right. So, Containment Class Evidentiary. Under no circumstances are either of the two parties involved to be informed of any aspect of 9980. Select approved personnel are to be informed on a need-to-know basis. It must be stated that all alleged conduct attributed to Deputy Director Violanti within the document is entirely false. An inquiry into the origin of 9980 yielded no known results. Further research to determine its origin and authenticity is virtually impossible without scrambling researchers from multiple departments. All of that last sentence was struck through. Correction. The risk is of an information leak far outweighs any potential benefit. 9980 is a file that appeared spontaneously within the SkipNet database on January 3rd, 2008. By what method this occurred remains unknown, but given additional facts, is likely temporal or thaumaturgical in nature, such as Dr. Yulianova's status as a member of Sol 140. Okay. The file in question, designated 9980 ARC, is formatted similarly to a standard database entry, yet the style of writing therein is almost entirely out of compliance with approved practices and standards. In addition, the subject anomaly can be explained by non-anomalous psychiatric phenomena, namely PTSD and trauma-based hypersexuality and hyperarousal. Oh boy, oh boy. 9980-ARC contains analyses and prose-based anecdotes of sexual exploits occurring within a marriage between Site-19 director Carmine Violanti and Site-17 researcher Barricada Yulianova, designated 9140-A-0. Of concern, 9980-ARC purports instances of rape, abuse of power, and sexual coercion perpetrated of the deputy director. And then we go into said document the archive document with all of the information, and that is going to be a lot. So, if we are going in there, be cautious, I warn you. But yes, these kind of administrative authority issues seem to have been more and more caught up as of late. Woof. Have to check that out later. Sheesh. I mean, it does seem like a spiritual successor to 8980 in subject. Okay, yeah, definitely read the author post to know what you're getting into and the content warnings. Okay. Moving on. I saw another Ko-Fi notification. Let me double check on that so I don't forget it exists. Aflac, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Thank you for making the effort as well to go through the Ko-Fi. Grab yourself a abandoned quiche on your way past the commissary. How would you contain the Twilight Zone? I would place the concept of the Twilight Zone in a 90s, 2000s electronica song used in a dancing arcade machine game in order to lull everybody into believing it doesn't exist as a form of disinformation. Because we can't actually contain the Twilight Zone. It is a random place, kind of like the Backrooms, where you fall into it and bad things happen to you. So let's just keep people from worrying about it. Anna Carson, thank you for sending floating hearts to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am sure they enjoyed the love of those floating hearts. Meanwhile, Avari, thank you for sending yourself a floating heart. I'm sure the chat is feeling the love right now. And Alexander the Cat, thank you for gifting a 100 to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I'm sure the chat will continue to keep it 100. James King, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a sweet roll on your way past the commissary. And you didn't send a message with your donation, so simply thank you for your generosity. I like your hair. Well, Intern Blainery, thank you very much. We've been having fun with the on-site stylist. Looks super fly. Hunter Mark, we are out of the content warning zone, yes. The only place worse than the Twilight Zone, the content warning zone. Aoki, the Twilight Zone is a old school horror science fiction anthology series, hosted by one Rod Serling. Very popular in its time, and still doted on as a great historical piece of science fiction television. It was recently rebooted by Jordan Peele. I haven't watched it, but I hear it was pretty good. Intern Flurry55, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Avari, thank you for sending another thumbs up to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. Sleep Deprived Dragon of the Night, thank you for sending a flower to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I'm sure it sounds beautiful. Smells beautiful. Flowers smell, not sound. Important distinction there. Rave Haven, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself a brownie on your way past the commissary. I'll be bringing Spider Sherm to your office this Friday, Director, as proof. You want me to bring you anything else, sir? Well, Junior Researcher Haven, I do require a trap to be set in my office to contain the Spider Sherm. Obviously, it is still a Spider-Man, which means it requires containment, even if it is a dashingly handsome version of the Spider-Man. Still requires containment. Sleep Deprived Dragon Tonight, thank you for sending more flowers to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. The chat deserves their flowers, especially the members of Mobile Task Force Psi-42 codenamed Signal Booster, who made sure to comment on the final teaser for SCP Gallionic by some studios, as well as the SCP-2026 Anthology trailer by Shaggy Dreadlocks. What's going on with the hearts and flowers, though? Researcher Pitt. The YouTube platform has graced us with their new version of the TikTok GIFs monetization program here on YouTube. And so just like TikTok, you purchase jewels from YouTube, and then you can make it rain on your favorite streamers in the vertical platforms. So it is just another way for YouTube to help creators get monetized. Amber, thank you for sending a heart as an example to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. Intern American, you are correct in answering Dream Droids that my favorite SCP-001 proposal is Lily's proposal, The World's Gone Beautiful. Have you ever seen an SCP that when you read it, you wondered how someone came up with that idea in a good way? Intern Ichizuki, so many times have I read an SCP article and went, how did they even come up with that? But that's what makes me love it. Delicious. All of that. They are mwah. Chef's kiss right there. Chef's kiss. Mwah. Quick question, what is your thoughts on SCP-3008? Has got to be one of my favorite SCPs. Well, Intern Nightshade, first and foremost, we have the issue where I don't like any anomaly we can't really contain that well. Now, it's true that we can block the door to this particular IKEA, but it annoys me that we can't move it to a safe site, that we have to waste resources on having armed guards outside of a random condemned IKEA. That's a lot of questions that need answering from those containment procedures. Furthermore, what's going on inside the Infinite IKEA is highly unpredictable, and I am not a fan of unpredictable. There are too many anomalies. It is nice when they are easy to contain. Safe class is the best. Furthermore, I don't like the amount of people who suggest throwing our anomalies in there for containment, because that's not containment, that's losing an anomaly in another dimension. We can't research it anymore. We can't get them out of there reliably, but the immortal ones, they'll get out of there and cause a havoc when they escape. It's not a good plan. Not a good plan. Last but not least, I find it both comical and sad that the actual brand IKEA has been so hostile to us over it. They allow content creators to film in their IKEA locations after hours for social media stuff, sponsorships. But if I want to go into an IKEA to talk about the Infinite IKEA, oh no. Their legal team gets real mad. They are persona non grata. You, SCP guy. They sued an SCP game developer into stopping production. I believe that person's almost coming back finally, because their game was an Infinite IKEA game, and they did not have time to change out all the assets before the time limit. So woof, there's a lot circling around that one. IKEA, not happy with us. Can you use other SCPs to navigate the Infinite IKEA? Enter card God. I do believe rare anomalies of navigational use could get you in and out of the IKEA. One of the easiest, most successful propositions is if you ever lose a researcher inside the Infinite IKEA, your hope is to keep a picture of SCP-096 on hand so that they can encounter 096 without looking at its face, bag it, put some ropes on it, and then ride that sucker out when you have a D-class look at 096's face outside. What if we just started calling the Infinite IKEA the different Infinite Furniture Store? You mean? Yes, I can assume that's going to be happening for anyone who tries to make a film or game about it from now on. Because even the color of the uniforms and the color of the signage is enough of a giveaway that IKEA will come after you. So you better rebrand that thing for real. Silent Follower, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Get yourself some coquito on your way past the commissary. I hate it. I miss the super stickers. Oh, did these little gifts replace the super stickers? That's interesting. I did not realize that from this side of the screen. Furthermore, I do know that some of the more advanced and expensive gifts do all sorts of weird stuff. Someone shared like a lizard or an alligator yesterday that bounced all the way the hell over my stream. So, screen over here. So, they're certainly doing something interesting with these as well. Not a Chaos Insurgency Spy, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself some completely healthful and non-anomalous, I promise, milk on your way past the commissary. I stole SCP-999 and gave him, it's a blob. It is a blob of slime. It doesn't have gender markers. It doesn't even have a face. If you think it has a face, read the actual document. It does not have a face. It is a 6 foot by 3 foot. It is a couch-sized slime. It doesn't have gender markers. It's not a him. It's an it. All anomalies are its. They are objects, not people. Please practice proper pronoun parlance protocols at the Foundation. Shh. A flamethrower. Side note, you and Desk are the best SCP YouTubers. Well, how can I be mad at you after that? Also, I did train SCP-999 with a Glock in order to defend itself from people who would put it in a blender for violence purposes. I think it could reverse engineer the knowledge of a flamethrower using those same classes. So yeah, that might be an apt defensive strategy. I thought 999 was smaller than that. Researcher Sprite, a lot of people do. Especially when they draw it, people draw a little slime. It's like this big, it's like a ball. But nope, it is 3 meters by 1.5 meters. Or 3 meters by 1 meter. It is the size of 2 meters by 1 meter. How many meters are in a feet? How many feet are in a meter? God, I'm infected with that archaic measurement system again. What anomaly is that? SCP Antiquated Measurement System. SCP-5280-J. Codename the Antiquated Measurement System. Okay. Well, I'll need to get amnestic therapy later to no longer be infected with 5280-J. That's for sure. Can't have that. Suffice it to say, it's a big slime. What is the stupidest SCP you have seen? Well, before I answer that, intern Black Bear, welcome to Site-42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. The stupidest SCP of the day is going to be SCP Al Dente-J. Obviously, my answer is going to change from day to day, but today it's SCP Al Dente-J. Otherwise known as SCP, God, it's like 41-D3N73-J. Where is it? Where is it? Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Uh-oh. Oh, that's just a really long title. That's not a problem. Where's the pasta anomaly? I'm trying to show you that. Thank you, Desk. Thank you for getting that in the back channels while I was having trouble finding it. SCP-41-D3N73-J, codename Lotsa Pasta, is a shelf of sapient boxes of pasta, all unfortunately capable of speech. There's linguine, capellini, monticelli, penne, probably spaghetti and angel hair too, I don't know. I got bored of listening to them and gave up checking each box. They all speak English in a frankly offensive and exaggerated Italian accent. It's pretty insulting, especially when you consider my parents were Italian immigrants. Yeah, thanks for assigning this one to me, knowing my mom died 4 months ago. Really cool. SCP-41-D3N73-J instances are not capable of movement and mostly spend their time arguing with each other in their Looney Tunes-esque vernacular, which usually lacks any semblance of sense, continuity, or just general logic. I did some science, and the result is that SCP-41-D3N73 is the dumbest goddamn thing we've ever contained. See the interview below. Try to make the language as accurate as possible so the insensitivity really shines through. And so yes, read that interview. It is a riot, but it's also the dumbest goddamn thing we have in containment. That researcher is correct. One second. Okay, we're back. Lots of pasta is saved on my Spotify episodes, Lamau. I had so much fun recording the audio log for Lots of Pasta. It is a terrible, dumb anomaly, but it was very funny. I had a blast recording that episode. My next objective is permanently taping 096's face to 173's face. Idiots! We can look at 173's feet. We won't see the face because we're looking at its feet. This is a dumb plan, and anybody who is actually caught by it deserves it. Do better, Sutterfuge. Jeez. Ravehaven, thank you for donating to the Ko-Fi to keep the effort and the donations as useful as possible. We appreciate the effort. From those who would put it in a blender. So you, director? Hey. I was against Asset Florida Orange, I'll have you know. I think putting 999 in a giant blender and then utilizing it for the morale of the Foundation was an absurd and rude act. Even for my not believing in the humanity of anomalies, that was a bit far. Intern Blanery. Here we go. Dr. Bright talk in 3, 2, 1, beginning. Dr. Bright's author was banned from the SCP Wiki for some incredibly rough grooming allegations. And the character of Dr. Bright was a big part of that, being built up of the kinks of the author and was actively used in that setting. So the character is mostly disowned by the SCP community, and that means we do not talk about Bruno here in stream. Desk has got a video for you in the chat, just above yours, that is the last death of Dr. Jack Bright. That is a video I made explaining the situation in a small summary with links to more evidence. So, we do not talk about that character for that reason. Why do we keep getting on this topic? RIP? Well, Plague Doctor. Part of the problem is, as I always warn you guys, we are one of the largest faces to the off-site SCP community. And what that means is the off-site community is millions of people. Consider this. The SCP Wiki probably has 2,000 authors. 2,000 is a lot less than a million. A lot less than several million. And so all of those people who just get their SCP knowledge from content farms, from us here at Site42, from the other SCP YouTubers who we like, they're only getting this knowledge now, despite the fact that many of us core community members have known about it for a while, which is why it's important that you guys do not lash out at people who don't know. If they continue it after we warn them, that's a different story. But 99% of the people who waltz into our stream think Dr. Bright is a funny Bugs Bunny character, and they do not know the backstory. So please do not yell at people who mention Dr. Bright. Just at most alert Desk if Desk doesn't pick up on it. That is the best way, because think about this the same way we think about United States politics. When you yell at somebody, in their brain they feel attacked. And when they feel attacked, what do? They defend themselves. A lot of people see being wrong about anything as a personality flaw that they can't have. A lot of people, a majority of people, think that being wrong means you're a bad person. And so when you tell them they're wrong, when you tell them they did something wrong, they don't see the action as wrong. They see themselves as a bad person. And the human brain does not like being a bad person. Everyone's the hero of their own story. And so, in that case, they try to justify that they're right and you're wrong so that they aren't a bad person. It's not a perfect system, because how do you be nice and kind to the worst offenders, the racists, the sexists, the transphobes, when they are literally attacking people and you're going to nice your way out of it? It's a hard sell. That's the whole discussion in our side of politics, is being nice to them, Mr. Rogers style, versus kicking their teeth in. This is the Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X dichotomy. This is the Professor Xavier versus Magneto dichotomy. And at least for here, I'm trying to pull the Martin Luther King Jr. card. Now, I understand later in life, he also got more radical, and we stand. But I'm at least trying to play nice here. I'm going the Mr. Rogers route. There are other people who will be a little more aggressive when necessary. And you know, I'm not very Mr. Rogers. I also get pissed off and yell too. That's fair. Fuck ICE. Do you believe in SCPs? Because you convinced me to do so. Intern Card God. This is very important. We never pretend SCPs are real. This is another. This isn't nearly as controversial. But we don't pretend SCPs are real because back in 2015, some kids believed Slender Man was real so hard and that Slender Man was talking to them that they stabbed their friend over it because they said Slender Man told them to stab their friend. So since then, if someone asks if SCP is real, we completely drop kayfabe. This is fake. I am an actor. I'm having a good time. We're role-playing. SCP is not real. But the SCP Wiki is awesome. And so we can enjoy that. Rave Haven, thank you for donating again to say, have you seen the ASDF movie 16 yet? I have no idea what you're talking about. I have not heard a lick of this. What is an ASDF 16? Real quick. ASDF movie 16 from Tomska. A 2-minute and 43-second YouTube video? Okay. I will have to check on that later. Alada, you don't know what this is? Yep. And remember, when people don't know a thing. God, I'm getting all up on my high horse about morality today. Everybody searches for the same thing. From our friends. This actually goes right along with what we were talking about earlier. I try not to make fun of people for admitting they don't know things, because for each thing everyone knows by the time they're adults, every day there are, on average, 10,000 people in the US hearing about it for the first time. Fraction who've heard it at birth, 0%. Fraction who've heard of it by 30, 100%. US birth rate, 4 million. Number hearing about it for the first day, 10,000 a day. If I make fun of people, I train them not to tell me when they have these moments, and I miss out on the fun. Diet Coke and Mentos thing, what's that? Oh man, come on, we're going to the grocery store. Why? You're one of today's lucky 10,000. So, once again, don't be rude to people because they haven't had the same experience of you. Instead, show them the joy. That's what I do basically here all day. It's you haven't heard of the SCP Foundation? Oh, you're one of today's lucky 10,000, my friend. All right, hold on. I've got a lot of things going in. Back channels check. Thank you, Desk. And Desk would like to remind you, let Desk be the bad guy, moderator in chat. Don't beat people up in chat. Don't be mean yourselves. Let Desk hold that persecution complex like Clef does. Do 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 do. Let me double check my notifications here. Good, good. We are clean. Chat is refreshed. Likes over views. Oh, Plague Doctor, you are correct. We are at 107 likes and 76 viewers, so technically speaking, the likes are above the view count. Good work, Containment Hazard Assessment Team. When you hit that like button, it forces the YouTube algorithm to reach out and bring us more newbies. People who maybe know about SCP but didn't know we were on YouTube. Maybe people who are today's lucky 10,000 to learn what SCP is. And so thank you for your service, Mobile Task Force Psi-42 codename Signal Boosters. You hitting that like button brings us more people to help us support the SCP Wiki and its authors and artists, and animators and game devs and filmmakers and merch makers and podcasters, etc., etc. Speaking of podcasters, by the way, oh, this is not who I was looking for. Da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. You will be learning about this in real time with me. Just allow me to... What the hell? Oh, it worked. It's just lagging. Boom. And boom. Oh, that's very reasonable. Oh, I'm happy about this. Okay, so earlier this week I told you about the release of a new high-quality SCP narrative podcast called Eye of the Beholder by the Rose Lounge. They have some pretty good writing, good sound effects, good music, good voice actors. They are going hard in the paint for an SCP podcast. Again, that's Eye of the Beholder by the Rose Lounge. Available, its pilot episode is on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. And so you can check out the cast, the artwork, all of this cool stuff for the Site-29 crew, the story of a site that houses many anomalous staff members and the trial and tribulations they're going to be going through. And so, furthermore, they have just dropped their Kickstarter. And their Kickstarter for Eye of the Beholder is a paltry and I think very reasonable for the quality, $12,000. $12,000? We can pitch that out of nowhere, man. That's about what Radiger asked for Hymns for the Road, and we knocked that out of the park. So, Dr. Vincent Minnow, the head of research at Site-29, and Crow, an ex-Chaos Insurgent, worked together to save 29. A Chaos Insurgent? Where? Hold on, I'm putting on their little Kickstarter pitch video. Are you playing? It says it's playing. Please play. I'm not hearing anything or seeing anything. Kickstarter video player, are you doing your job?
You know you don't have to do this. You're the head of research. You've got loads of interns, guards, even D-class personnel to do this experiment. I just don't get why you're like this, Vincent. If something were to happen to you...
Nothing will happen to me, Cassie. And it won't. You've been doing this for over, 15 years? Have a little faith, will you?
Just rethink this for a moment. What if your arm gets blown off or a piece of glass hits your throat?
Come on, Cass. I would never ask anyone to do something that I would never do myself. How am I to ask others to die for us if they do not share that same risk? Just because I'm head of research doesn't mean I'm barred from participating in experiments. I clawed my way up to get where I'm at. And I'm not just going to spend my...
Give me 1 second. So this is the opening of the podcast. And we can hear this in the actual podcast episode. I'm going to skip ahead and see if there's an actual pitch here.
Something else was bad about being up to... You boys okay? Between supernatural anomalies and...
Okay. It seems to have some snippets of something further down the way.
Ready. In position.
So yes, there's definitely clips in this Kickstarter pitch video that don't have the, that aren't from the first episode. But that is, let me see if there's anything about the pitch at the end here. Real quick. Someone said, Blannery, you're asking a lot of good questions today. I appreciate you. Is there any SCP YouTube channels that you would recommend for someone who is not that deep in SCP but is a fan like me? So I would highly recommend to you, first and foremost, your favorite SCP YouTuber's favorite SCP YouTuber is Radiger. Radiger is an arts student, as opposed to me being a theater student, and covers a lot of breakdowns of SCP articles, breakdowns of the content farms who use our work but don't actually do too well for the community on the back end. You're going to get some really good information from Radiger, Raddagher, on YouTube. Furthermore, Radiger has made the SCP narrative podcast, Find Us Alive, which is a very long-running, high-quality narrative podcast in the SCP universe, original stories. So it's good stuff. Furthermore than that, Obviously, everyone says the Volgan. He's on hiatus right now, but he has a ton of high-quality SCP readings. Mr. Illustrated works on SCP videos with Dr. Sumerian, a writer from the wiki. There's some great work being done over there. Dr. Sumerian also has his own YouTube channel, although that's, I think, on hiatus as well. Else things I can point you at. Start there. Start there. Now let me see what this pitch has. Please tell me there's more than just the podcast. Start talking. Any minute.
G'day, my name is Israthi. I'm the voice of Dr. Vincent, head of research at Site-21. My family is...
Intern Dream Droids. I'm just going to tell you this. We at Site-42 are not huge fans of the rubber. I have a video taking down the rubber because of some shady business practices, I'll say. Suffice it to say, both the rubber and Detective Void are not friends of mine. For reasons. Both of them have a video on the channel. Just sorry to burst your bubble there.
currently being held at gunpoint, and if I don't talk about the show, at gunpoint is where they'll stay. Anyway, the show that I've been super stoked to have been cast for is Eye of the Beholder, set within the SCP universe. Between supernatural anomalies and internal politics in the Foundation, Vincent and his co-workers have their work cut out for them, as in the end of the day is...
All right, this pitch video isn't really giving me a lot to work with, so I'm just going to read from the Kickstarter properly. Let me give you a little music. All right, so, story. Eye of the Beholder is an audio drama based on the SCP Foundation set in a world where a hidden organization is committed identifying, confining, and researching entities that defy natural rules known as anomalies or SCPs. Episode 1 of the podcast is out now. The plot. Dr. Vincent Minnow is the head of research at Site-29, a botanical and mineralogy Foundation facility in Oregon. When it appears that the site is about to shut down due to lack of funding, the Foundation unexpectedly raises its funds and transfers SCP-4051, your friendly neighborhood Keter, Rainer Miller, from Site-17 into its care. Crow, a member of the Caretakers, a broken off branch of the Serpent's Hand, and former member of the Chaos Insurgency, tries to find someone with whom they once shared a special relationship during their time in the Insurgency after they disappeared one day. When a mission from the Caretaker's founder falls into their lap, they and their friends accept it. However, when an unknown SCP is smuggled into Site-29, the site devolves into chaos as the unknown SCP causes destruction and spatial alterations. At the same time, an opposing force begins a hostile takeover of the site. Dr. Vincent Minnow and Crow find their paths crossing together and team up to help retake Site-29. Where can you find the podcast? What I would do for you right now is dropping a link for Desk to the Kickstarter. Desk, the Kickstarter is in your possession. The Kickstarter also has a link to the podcast dissemination platform. Continuing on. Eye of the Beholder is for those looking for a fresh audio drama narrative experience delving into the sci-fi horror world and community of the SCP Foundation. Eye of the Beholder aims to give old fans of the community a sense of freshness, shared passion, and love for the passion project they hold dear to their hearts, while giving those who are new to the fandom something that will ease them into the community and give them a glimpse into the wonderful world and community project of the SCP. Creator, writer, director, producer is Adrian Linford, a 26-year-old MFA student in creative writing at Arizona State University. Jacoby Kendrick as audio engineer, producer, and co-director. And has a website for prior projects. They have a whole cast. They have their risks and challenges. When you support this podcast as a D-Class personnel, you get your name on the wall of supporters. If you're a Foundation researcher, you receive a shout-out at the end of the episodes. If you are a field agent in the Mobile Task Force, you also get your shout out at the end of the episodes. Plus one more. If you are a Site Director member, you get Eye of the Beholder digital soundtrack. And if you join the O5 Council, you get custom art of a single character in the show, must remain safe for work. So, there are some minor giftings. Somebody's already donated $50 to the campaign. That is very good news. Love to see it. And I am currently logged into Kickstarter. You guys give me the power to donate to these kind of projects. And so I will do so. Da 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 da. Goddamn. You can't do Kickstarter through PayPal. You're killing me, Smalls. All right, well, if I'm going to successfully donate to this Kickstarter, I need to go get my wallet. So, Dr. Chair, keep them entertained. Boom. All right, let's do this without accidentally flashing my credit card information to the Containment Hazard Assessment team. I do not trust my Containment Hazard Assessment team with a site director's credit card. That seems just like a terrible idea waiting to happen. Never, ever, ever. Not once. Da-na-na-na-na-na. And sent. Boss, what are you wearing? Excuse me. My Goofy Movie shirt is quite fashionable and whimsical. You're welcome. All right, there we are. Live on YouTube, we just backed this Kickstarter project. But I can't do it alone. So if you guys want to help them out, I highly suggest you go to that Kickstarter place immediately. I have the whole Beholder on Season 1 on Kickstarter. Returning to chat. How would we contain Experiment 626? Leave it on the island of Hawaii. It can't swim. The space people did a pretty good job with that. What if the Scorched Plague was in the SCP universe? Now it spreads via air, highly infectious, your skin melts and green crystals grow, you become very aggressive, can still use weapons like knives or guns. So a sort of rage virus. Well, we would have to isolate the area it was in, but since it travels via air, that depends on how much of a concentration causes you to become infected. There are certain things that we can't contain if they are viral enough to spread. We are not gods, even though we contain gods, so-called. How to contain mimics from D&D. Well, Intern Gray, they stay in a containment cell pretty easily. A mimic might be able to mimic things, but it is still just a corporeal entity that can be left in a place. In fact, I believe we have a mimic at the super cool petting zoo, because, you know, it can transform into things that you throw in its pen, and that's rather entertaining for the cadets. What if we throw the super ball at 173? Will 173 just break? Well, SCP-173 is made of concrete and rebar, so if the bouncing ball, what is it? What is the super ball's number? Is that 12? No, it's not 12. 18. 18 is the rubber, the super ball. So yes, if the bouncing ball gets to a fast enough speed, due to its increasing bounce force anomaly, if it reaches a speed that rubber could penetrate cement, it would not likely super break 173 because it's so small, the pressure would cause it to go through it like a bullet. But of course, 173 made of concrete doesn't care if it gets shot by a bullet, so that's not much. Intern Underwood, welcome to Site-42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. By the way, Containment Hazard Assessment Team, we are 1 hour and 15 minutes into this 2-hour stream. We have 45 minutes remaining. Please, Dr. Sherman, please, what is Ralph's SCP number? I need to know, please help. Intern Darth, Ralph is SCP redacted, because Ralph the Dapper Skeleton is not an actual canon SCP. That is one of those anomalies that I see in the public feeds, and I interact with it as if it were an SCP, creating the simulacrum of a backstory of a show about SCP that doesn't actually exist, but I seemingly have backstory involved, and it makes it feel very lived in and real, which is a fun game to play. So yes, Ralph the Dapper Skeleton is not an actual SCP, but it is a fun anomaly. Intern Canopses, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself some fish fingers and custard on your way past the commissary. How do we contain the entity from Dead by Daylight? Well, that is an overarching main antagonist with a whole bunch of murderous anomalies at its behest. So at least in the beginning, the game has to be simply containing those minor anomalies to weaken it, while we try to find some sort of ritual or containment procedure, possibly in works with the thaumaturgical department of the SCP Foundation in order to contain the entity. I don't know a whole lot about Dead by Daylight, so there is that. Number 1, not an intern, but thanks for answering even if you insulted me. Sorry, intern Darth, but everybody who is a white name in the chat is, in fact, an intern of the SCP Foundation. If you want to get promoted, you can become a channel member. You could be a researcher or a mobile task force captain or a overseer. But white name, intern. That's the rules around these parts. It's nothing personal. The Computer Guy, thank you for your 7 months as a level 1 researcher. We appreciate your membership and your service. Been a while. Heard you were given an edible Bible. Yes, you can go back into the VODs to the day before Thanksgiving to see me ruin my appetite because Desk is so very funny. Files on SCP-096. Intern Yeep, those files are on the SCP database. You can look them up at your leisure on the SkipNet database. Boss, when are we letting the next SCP out? Please, I need this job. Not trying to get executed by the SCP Foundation for leaving or getting fired. What are you talking about, Intern Jameson? We don't let the SCPs out. We contain them. What the hell of which are you speaking? Silent Follower, thank you for sending the chat a delightful hot cocoa. I bet the chat will have their hearts warmed by your generosity as well as the cocoa. Canopses, thank you for donating again, Intern Canopses, to say, I can see several problems with simply containing the smaller anomalies, considering the entity has killers like Pyramid Head and the Mind Flayer. Well, yes, but all of these, even Pyramid Head, as a projection of grief and shame, is not as much of a danger as many would think. With the right D-Class and the right maze, we can leave that D-Class running around in there with Pyramid Head on the patrol for a good long while. So, that is one part and parcel of the process, is understanding the anomalies at play. Yes, we would need multiple teams were the Dead by Daylight anomalies to be present because there's so many of them. And so each individual anomaly would require a team of researchers to figure out the best way to do containment. Researcher Canopses, congratulations as well on getting a promotion. We appreciate your newly minted membership and your service as a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. Nice hair. Well, thank you, Intern Legal. Appreciate your complimentation of my sweet quaff. Canopses, thank you for donating in to say, would you consider saving the people in the realm? Yes, there is some sort of realm, I guess, where you have to go to even encounter the entity and its little killers afterwards. So first of all, an easy containment is to keep people out of the goddamn realm. And by goddamn in this case, I mean SCP-5991, codename Vorjesus, because yet another place I do not want to be teleported. Please. Furthermore, I do believe that we would, if people fell into their, like, falling into the back rooms, we could only rescue them in as far as we could get in and out safely. So unfortunately, the likelihood of rescuing those who have fallen into said realm is low. Based on the trigger warning I heard when I first joined, there's an SCP document that I really need to avoid. Just tell me which document I need to avoid. Intern American, that was SCP-9980, which, if you consider SCP-8980 was the last super gaslighty, rough-to-read article. It seems like 9980 is a spiritual successor to the awfulness. Researcher Canopses. We have me, a toaster that can only be spoken about in the first person, as an anomaly because I am anomalous. You can't talk about me without speaking in the first person. And a lot of people don't pay attention to this part, but if you are exposed to me for a long period of time, then you start to believe you are me. And you start to try to do things that I do, like warm toast or fit into an electrical socket. And then bad things happen to you because you're not me, but I'm me, and I make you think you're me. Ow! I hate talking about me. Can we move on? Yago Make a Gamer. Thank you for subscribing to Site42. Welcome to staff. I don't know this world. Well, intern Cody, in case you are just waking up from an amnestics treatment due to some horrible trauma you went through, welcome back to the SCP Foundation, a secret organization that hides monsters and magic objects from the public's knowledge. That way they can live their gentle civilian lives, sleeping well, not knowing what goes bump in the night. And so we contain, we research, we secure, contain, and protect here at the SCP Foundation. And so welcome back to Consciousness Agent. I will go over to HR and get yourself situated so that you're ready to continue your mission. Returning to chat, double-checking notifications. Clear. Refreshing. What do you do if there's a tornado emergency? Not a tornado warning, but a tornado emergency. Intern Wicks. So, there's not a lot of tornado warnings or tornado emergencies at Site-42. We are located in the San Francisco Bay Area. It is pretty temperate weather, pretty not so much a tornado area. Furthermore, when I was stationed in Florida, I also did not encounter a lot of tornadoes. So I'm unfamiliar with the Foundation's tornado recommendations, but I would definitely suggest checking your on-site documentation for such a thing if that's something you need to be worried about. Dr. Sherman, I'm aware this is a bit of a silly question, but do you like WWE? It has become one of my hyperfixations. Well, I'll tell you this, Intern American, I actually used to be more of a fan before a lot of what Vince implemented in the last 20-ish years. And so it's gotten, it's not as good as it used to be. In fact, I'm seeing a lot of good things over at AEW, bringing some of the fun back into the sport. The not the SCP Foundation, the old anime convention I used to work for back in Tampa, Florida, had a wrestling performance show. In fact, they still do. It is a group that comes on tour now, and they are called, Kaiju Big Battle. And Kaiju Big Battle is a parody wrestling show, or I wouldn't say it's a parody wrestling show, but they come out in mascot costumes dressed as kaijus, and there's buildings on the ground. That way, they act like they're fighting in a big kaiju city. And so that's very interesting work there. But yes, it's a very athletic sport, very dangerous. I never participated myself, but it looks like a hell of a fun time. There is no fight ring in the gymnasium. What are you talking about? You are correct, Intern Sprite. There is no SCP Fight Club in the Site-42 gymnasium on the 7th level of the East Wing. Not at all. Therefore, do not place your bets for the upcoming fight night on Friday, because it doesn't exist. This guy is gay. Well, Intern Florin, you are mistaken. I am asexual, which is in the LGBTQIA spectrum, but not quite gay. Also, the LGBTQIA community is pretty rad. Also, my author is cishet and thinks you're kind of weird for pointing that out like it's something that people should care about. Intern Cider, welcome to Site-42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Dr. Sherman, do you like garlic bread? Researcher Sprite, I am literally Italian. What do you think? You look at the SCP Foundation. Well, Intern Noah, I look at the SCP Foundation all the time because I work here. So, yes, quite often I look at the SCP Foundation. I am genuinely curious how, like, super straight people get into the SCP, like this is the gayest place on Earth, brother, lol. Well, Just Pitt, my author is a theater kid and dance teacher, so, I mean, straight, yes, but still little, you know? Ow! I'm not making fun of you, that was a compliment! Ugh. Wait, Italian people are real? Yes, Intern G-Speed. We just talked about an Italian SCP researcher from the SCP-41-D3N73-J article, codenamed Lots of Pasta. Also, as of the Super Bowl halftime show, perhaps Italians are now Latina, if Lady Gagita is anything to go on. That's the rumors I'm hearing, but I have not looked into that scenario myself. It seems a little too anomalous even for my tastes. Dr. Sherman, if I'm allowed, can I give SCP-999 a can of soda? Intern Smark, the answer is no. It is well past SCP-999's most recent feeding time. We are going to wait until the next window. Why does Dr. Sherman have the best hair and shirts? Lucky. Well, it takes some discernment. You go out, you shop the vintage shops, or in this case, this was a birthday gift from... I believe it was a group present from Toad King Studios, Motional Entropy, and Radiger. And I think that's right. I think it was the group. If one of you wasn't involved in the present, then I'm sorry I gave you credit, but you're still cool. But I think it was a group effort. But yes, shopping, fashion, going hot, go and find stuff. Alright. There we go. There we go. The back channels were giving me a little bit of a glitch. Archaic-ass terminal for real. Where was I? Ah, yes. But shout out to Tash and Rad and Eric and M for dope shirt. Are some SCPs sleep paralysis demons? Intern Bacon. Let me see if we have a sleep paralysis demon SCP. The only one I'm going to say is pure. Yes, actually we have two. Okay, the one I was thinking of plus one more. So, when it comes to sleep paralysis demons, your first entity is going to be SCP-072, codename The Foot of the Bed. SCP-072 is... Instances were first discovered in an apartment building in Blank, Michigan, after two local media reports on 072's effects caused local panic, which drew the attention of embedded Foundation agents. 072 is a shadowy and translucent projection which resembles a 0.9 meter long hand, the fingers of which taper to sharp points. Detailed recording of 072 is difficult as it does not manifest at light levels above 5 lux. If you go to sleep in a mattress that is infected, because mattresses can be infected, it is contagious. If you are on an infected mattress by this anomaly, then when you go to bed in a dark room and you leave your feet outside the blankets, then the hand will start to creep out from the edge of the bed. You will awaken, completely paralyzed, but unfortunately completely able to feel pain. Then the fingers will start to peel strips of your skin from the ankle to the toes until one or both feet are completely skinned. It's not good. It's not good. I don't like it. So yes, that is the first of the sleep paralysis demons. Secondly, and I'm not familiar with this one, is SCP-4423, codename Step Demon. SCP-4423 is a Tartarian-class demonic entity that manifests during sleep paralysis. Although its appearance varies across manifestations, its voice remains the same, with speech patterns matching that of a middle-aged male. During an SCP-4423 event, 4423 will enter the victim's room and speak to them as if they were a young child. This conversation will inevitably turn to the topic of the victim's father. When the victim exits sleep paralysis, 4423 will leave the room and demanifest. Due to the lack of reported incidents, with only 15 confirmed cases since 1997, the frequency of SCP-4423 events is currently unknown. While the extent of 4423's interactions with victims varies greatly, many seek psychiatric help following the incident. Interview log. In order to obtain an interview, researcher Jack Patricks volunteered to be subjected to an experimental drug capable of inducing sleep paralysis. By using a prototype neural interface capable of translating thoughts into synthetic speech and a camera system mounted in his room, an interview was conducted after 77 consecutive days of testing. That is some interesting scientific tech we have there to run this. Intern Fernandez, welcome to Site42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Interview log with SCP-4423. The door opens, and 4423 appears in frame and sits at the end of the bed and crosses its hands in its lap. After observing researcher Patrick for a period of 3 minutes, 4423 touches his ankle and shakes it until Patrick opens his eyes. Hey, kiddo. I saw how to wake you up, but but I need to talk to you. Hello? The entity jumps. Oh, wow, you frightened me. Another one of your crazy toys, huh? I am Foundation. Yes, Foundation. That's what I want to talk to you about. You know? I know a lot of things. There's a good deal of wisdom in this old horned head of mine. Tugs on one of his horns. Relationships, they gotta have a strong foundation. Okay. And I want to get to know you, buddy. A little us time, you know? Why? Well, questions? Save me there. All right. I'll answer some of your questions while I try to think out how to say it. How you move. You know that. My old jalopy. I must have driven you to school 3 dozen times by now. Where you from? Here. Went to the same high school as you, remember? Showed you my old yearbooks. No. Really? Yeah, really. Okay, I think I got it now. Well, your dad and I? Well, we've been seeing each other for a little while now. I know, we've been friends for well ever. William? Yeah, Bill. And when I say seeing each other, I mean dating. Oh, I figured you might have caught on, but I wanted to talk to you about this little sport. Okay. Look, I love your father. He completes me in ways I didn't even know I needed. After puberty is over, it'll make more sense. Sexual relations. Hey, who told you about that? Didn't think Bill gave you the talk yet, but yes, sexually too. Okay. I don't want to just jump into your life like a stranger. I'm not a house wrecker. I want to be a part of your life in a mutually positive relationship. So we need a good foundation. How? I know your parents went through a pretty nasty divorce a little while ago, and that you haven't seen your mom in a while. I don't want to replace her. I never could. Explain. I want your permission. For what? Jack, I want to marry your dad. If you're okay with it, I'd be honored to be your stepdad. Stepdad? Yes, your stepdad. Just say yes and I'll propose tomorrow. 4423 covers its mouth with its hands and giggles. I can just see him, all dressed up in a tight little tux. You could be the ring bearer, little buddy. So what do you say? Yes. 4423 grabs researcher Patrick's, pulls him into a hug, and kisses his forehead. He laughs. It laughs, sorry. Tucks Patrick's back into bed and then exits the room. Ah, you said yes. Following extensive interviews, Foundation researchers conclude that while he had passed through Las Vegas on January 15th, 1992, researcher Patrick's father has not engaged in sexual intercourse with any Tartarian-class demonic entities. Footnote, as of December 4th, 2015. Addendum, 10 months later, a photograph depicting 4423, William Patrick's, and researcher Jack Patrick's in formal attire inside of a church was discovered underneath researcher Patrick's bed. The picture showed researcher Patrick's as he appeared when he was 12, and Patrick's recognized the church as the one he had attended as a child in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Mobile Task Force Upsilon 11 was dispatched to the church and found a wedding announcement in the records for one William Patrick's and an unnamed second person dated August 14th, 1999. No members of the clergy recall conducting or witnessing the wedding, and researcher Patrick has no memory of this event taking place. So, I rewrote reality and time to marry your dad. On August 30th, 2019, researcher Patrick received a postcard postmarked August 14th, 2019, in Oranjestad, Aruba, from his father. Hey, Jack! Sorry I didn't give you any notice, but your stepdad and I decided to celebrate our anniversary in the islands. Can't believe it's been 20 years already. Maybe you can join us next year if you can get away from that job. Love, Dad. P.S. If you get a chance, can you check on Misty? That cat sure misses you, and I don't want Mrs. Onsdale overfeeding her again. Compiled surveillance logs from the city of Oranjestad show William Patrick's and SCP-4423 checking into a hotel and participating in other activities standard for vacationing couples. The current whereabouts of William Patrick's remains unknown. So SCP-4423, Step Demon. The demon that's going to marry your dad. Love it! Good stuff. Did not know about the Step Demon. I am very entertained by the Step Demon. 31D Music, the website that we are reading on for all proper SCP documentation is, let me go to the homepage, scpwiki.wiki.com. That is the homepage, the one and only SCP Wiki. And by the way, one thing you guys need to know. When I say SCP Wiki, in case you're unfamiliar, SCP Wiki is not a wiki where people convene knowledge on things. Like most fandom wikis. Fandom wikis are wikis where people take Marvel facts and they put them into an encyclopedia format on a website. The SCP Wiki is not a wiki in that sense. Instead, it is the core canon of the SCPs. We write it in a wiki format because it's conducive to the networking, wiki-walking, going from one story to another quickly format. But this is not just a wiki where people compile facts about SCP. This is the core canon of the entire SCP Foundation community. The SCP Wiki English, as well as all of the international branches. So think about that in the future. You are, a lot of people hear SCP Wiki and they just assume it's an actual wiki and not the core source of canonicity of the SCP community. So keep that in mind. We want more gay. Well, Researcher Pitt, reminder that if, I don't remember when you joined the Containment Hazard Assessment Team, how many months it's been, but our daily streams from June, the Pride Month streams had Pride Month homework. We had a different gay article a day. So if you are in need of some more gay now and you weren't here for June, go back in the playlist and there you go. SCP-5091, thank you for sending a 100 to today's Containment Hazard Assessment Team. I'm sure that chat will continue to keep it 100. Also, thank you for your 1 month as a level 1 researcher here at Site-42. We appreciate your membership and your service. Hello, sir. I'm here to inquire you about the skin suit. All right, well, that would be wardrobe. Go over to wardrobe. They will work on you for a skin suit need. Yeah, I've only been here for 2 months, I think, but hell yeah, gay. Oh yeah, just Pitt. There is a Dr. Sherman's office hours live stream on the SCP database, on the Site-42 channel, and just go back to June. You will find Pride Month. This is kind of going back a couple topics, but I'm pan and not out to my fam except for one of my siblings. He's struggling with gender identity and might be a lesbian. Hooray, girls. Well, intern stars, I do hope the best for you in your scenario and that it works out, because LGBTQIA people should not be shunned for being who they are, and it is a shame that we have to live in a place where that is the case in many places. Best of luck to you. There has to be an SCP of a sock. Please tell me there is. Well, the other day we just read an SCP that was the story of where your socks go when they get lost in the dryer. But furthermore, SCP-334-J, is another anomaly of where the socks go when you lose them in the dryer. So that's 2 sock anomalies. You're welcome. Chili Boy, welcome to Site-42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Silent Follower, thank you for donating. I believe, yes, donating again. Grab yourself some more of whatever I gave you last time on your way past the commissary. Sorry, we're about 14 minutes from the end of stream and my brain's a little tired. So maybe we will be ending on time at the 2-hour mark. Flesh string cheese. Oh, that must have been about the 072. Yeah. Dr. Sherman, if you were any animal, what would you be? Asking for art I want to make for Fan Art Friday. Typically, when I am acting, I get typecast as roles that make me a peacock. And so, that is the animal I am most used to acting as. What is your clearance level? Intern Robbie. I am a site director, which means my clearance level is 4. Peacock, that seems like limited roles. Oh, no, what a world. Peacock in the world of theater is your princes, your kings, your ambassadors, but the ones who are a little, flamboyant. So not like a Lion King, but like a, yes, very fancy. And so that is the kind of preening that I am used to portraying. I love how you are back-to-back with my other favorites as I browse. Hey, what can I say? I keep good company. I don't know who the company is. I hope they're actually good company. If you like them and you like me, probably good company. Oh, got you. I'm not theater, so good to know. Oh, of course. I went to college for theater, dropped out, but still went. And yeah, being in theater does 2 big things that'll change your life entirely if you get into it, even at like the community theater level. Which is, first, you learn a lot about analyzing media, looking at movies differently. The old joke is TV tropes will ruin your life, because once you get that bug of analyzing a series or a movie, then your brain's always on, and so you can't just sit back and enjoy it anymore. You are now in the thick of it. I'm sure a lot of creatives have that same problem. Furthermore, theater intrinsically is very community focused. You make a lot of friends. You do good things. You go out late night to Steak and Shake and you stand on the tables singing doo-wop songs and annoying everybody. What is a SCP if you see this? Intern Jessica. An SCP is a contained anomaly by us, the SCP Foundation. So when we talk about anomalies, we're talking about monsters, magic objects, anomalous locations and spatial anomalies. Anything that does not fit our baseline view of reality, that is an anomaly. And once we contain it, the Special Containment Procedures document, that's the SCP. So usually refer to the SCP as the entity that is contained by the Special Containment Procedures. $100 stars. Thank you for sending 2 100s to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. I am certain that with your urging, they will continue to keep it 100. Would Son Goku be an anomaly? Well, yes, Intern Robbie. Son Goku, the Saiyan, is an alien, clearly anomalous. And Son Goku, the Monkey King, is also quite anomalous. Dun, 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 dun. So the French is not collectively an SCP. Intern Anise, no. To my knowledge, the French people are not anomalous as a whole. Although, of course, there are anomalies in France and anomalous people in France, but not the French. Now, the state of Massachusetts, that is completely anomalous. SCP-4006, the state of Massachusetts does not exist. So that is an anomalous area. Guess I don't exist, lol, I'm from Massachusetts. No, intern Tambari, you're just mistaken. Everybody who lives in this is all in the SCP-4006 document. Everybody who lives, quote, in Massachusetts actually lives on the exterior border of Massachusetts. And they all just think they live in Massachusetts. It's a weird anomaly. SCP-7474-EX is an alien. Alien does not equal anomaly. Oh, DJ Droge, I am interested to see if you are correct in this set. You're usually pretty thorough. And of course, I need to remove that. Not all aliens are anomalies. Alien organism of unknown origin, originally discovered piloting 7474-EX. Amorphous shape, weighs approximately 210 kilograms, and is capable of finely controlled morphological adjustments. They can talk. There's a rather long article. Well, you gotta remember at the end of the day, DJ Droge, there is no canon. At least in my universe, aliens are typically told to be anomalous. As in, the SCP with the codename Cliché, right? SCP-2020. SCP-2020 is a gray. And we have that gray in containment, and it keeps pitching us ideas, so to speak. 2020's body is composed primarily of a novel form of natural rubber that appears to serve skeletal, muscular, circulatory, and endocrine functions. Its digestive system and nutritional requirements are consistent with its diet, which consists entirely of paper and water. It has not shown any signs of growth or aging since recovery. It claims to originate from a technologically advanced extraterrestrial civilization, but will make wildly different claims regarding the nature and location of this civilization when questioned. Given the circumstances of its recovery, this avenue of research is nonetheless considered viable. Its behavior suggests that it shares many psychological similarities with humans, such as the ability to learn, desire for interaction, and a partial understanding of social norms. It is fluent in English and responds to the names Artie, Bobby, and Izzy. It is not engaged in hostile behavior and appears indifferent to its own containment. 2020 will frequently attempt to engage personnel in conversations regarding its desire to write science fiction and numerous ideas it has for science fiction stories. It has thus far failed to produce any actual writing, citing an inability to choose a concept. See attached transcript for details. And so now the entity is going to pitch to us its next banger of a sci-fi story. No, wait, guys, I got an idea. Better idea. There's this facility, right? It was made by someone at some time in the past to bring the whole world back from the apocalypse. Like something could blow a big hole in the earth, and after the facility went game over, play again, Y/N, that hole could just be the Marianas Trench, because the facility can pretty much do anything with physics and technology, I think. Cliché, right? I don't really know exactly how this fits in the story or anything, but I mean, it could be the setting, I think. I guess I can think. Guys, I had another idea. Forget that one. This was just a brain in a jar that's a guy. Cliché, right? But the idea here is that I just run with it. Crazy nutty professor type. Nutty inventions that don't work. Complete nonsense. But it's all working. Guys, that guy and his inventions could be like a superhero or something. Germy vacuum. The vacuum brain in a jar with germs. That sounds wrong. I'll think of something. It's okay though, because I got this awesome idea. There's a wizard, wait for it, from space! A space wizard! Guys, that's not the only part though. He's a cyborg, and he's with five cat girls. And guess what the twist is? That's right. The cat girls, also cyborgs. And they fight crime. Cliche, right? I mean, it's not because they're fighting space crimes in space. Crimes in space, does that make sense, guys? The story would be about them being cyborgs and fighting crime. Actually, no, because I got a better idea. Wait, it's an AI, right? An artificial intelligence on a computer. Cliche, right? Well, it makes simulations of the perfect world for that person, and then it eats the brains. Guys, but maybe it's not actually doing that, and I guess the characters don't know for sure that it's actually doing that because we can't see inside it. But there's a plot twist, though. It then puts a fake brain in them and makes the bodies convince other people to go into the simulation. It's a horror story, or a sci-fi horror story. Science horror story. Wait, guys. Here's an idea for you. I just got this idea. There's a time machine, right? And it sends people to the future and then back to the present. And in the future, everyone dies from an asteroid. I mean, not everyone, just enough people that it's like everyone. Cliche, right? Well, the main characters, or I guess it could be the villains or villain protagonists, they're trying to make sure that that future happens. Guys, that's because every time you try to look at another future, that future is even worse because it involves actually everyone dying, except for one time where it's like a Who Wants to Live Forever deal. I don't know what the actual story is, but I'll think of something. Okay, but wait, seriously, better idea, guys. There's this alien, right? Like they have in the movies with the green skin and the big black eyes and whatever. Cliche, right? But wait, and for whatever reason, I'll think of that later, it really wants to become a science fiction writer, but it can't stop coming up with ideas long enough to do it. And the twist, here's the twist, is that it's talking to some people, and they're from a government agency that already has all the things it's talking about. And they're like, how does it know all this stuff? It doesn't even know that it's all real, right? Wait. 2 words, just 2 words. Laser butt disease. Wait, guys, that was actually 3. That was 3 words. This is gonna be harder than I thought. Love me some SCP-142. All right. That took us to exactly the end of stream. I am going to check the notifications, make sure I haven't missed any donos. And I am actually kind of tired, so I think we're at the end here. Stars Love, thank you for sending another 100 to the chat. They will continue to keep them 100. And so, Site42 staff, we are at the end of today's stream. And as always at the end of stream, I tell you guys my favorite SCPs. It's a bit of a tradition around here. And, of course, I'm not going to tell you the SCPs I personally wrote are my favorites. That would be narcissism. But if you want to read the SCPs I personally wrote, you can go to the Sherm's author page in Site42 Hub on the SCP database. There you can see the SCPs I personally wrote, as well as contributed voice lines or sound effects to. And while you are on that author page, there is one tab over, a list of links. A list of links that a lot of people want to find, but they just don't seem clever enough to find the links. Very sad for them. But not for you, because you are smart enough to find those links. And while you're there, you can become a Patreon patron or a YouTube channel member to support us monthly. You can do a Ko-Fi or a YouTube Super Chat to donate to us one at a time. You could also purchase the Foundation Fitness Initiative or Reservoir Dogs t-shirt, sponsored by Site42, commissioned from SCP artists, and supporting all of our causes as we try to grow as content creators. So if you can do that for any of the merch or donation purposes, we appreciate it greatly. That generosity is what keeps the lights on for us here at Site42 and helps us to do these daily streams. So we appreciate your service in that sense. But and by the way, money people, if you are a money people, remember, we have a Kickstarter going on right now. We have a Kickstarter going on for Eye of the Beholder Season 1, the new in-town quality audio SCP Foundation narrative podcast. We are currently, today, at $450 of 12,000. That is day one, just myself and a couple of you guys. And so thank you for your service in uplifting Eye of the Beholder so we can see what they've got in store for Season 1. And of course, at the end of the day, if you are not part of the money gang, and trust me, I understand that, broke gang for life as a starving artist for sure, you can still help us out by being a member of Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codenamed the Signal Boosters. When you guys like, share, subscribe, comment, chat, share around the Kickstarters for these projects, even if you can't afford to donate, you can find people who can. And so whether you're sharing it with friends or in other SCP Discord servers or other places with like D&D nerds, people who might be into SCP, you are helping us to get more quality SCP films, games, animations, podcasts, merch, as well as helping out the SCP Wiki's authors and artists. So we thank you greatly for your help in signal boosting these things if you cannot afford to help them out directly. That is, as a team, the money people and the attention people, that's the D&D party that gets us those feature films and those AAA games. So thank you so much for your generosity of time or money for helping out. Wait, since Discord is down, how do I share fan art of Site-42? Discord is not down. All Desk meant is that Discord as a company is making... All right, now I'm not ending. I'm giving you guys some news. In case you didn't know, Discord announced a new type of security where every user on the platform is going to be set to a teens-only setting unless they are willing to submit a facial scan to identify that they're older than a teenager, or because they, or you have to send in your ID. I said down because I won't be able to use it anymore. Oh, okay, I see. Now, a lot of the spaces at the SCP Foundation, at least, don't go full adult content, to my knowledge. I mean, we don't allow sexually explicit material in the Site-42 server, even if it's 18 plus. Just because it's a public place. Go goon somewhere else. Jeez. So, I don't know how hard this is going to hit, but we all have to brace ourselves and see what happens. Just keep your eyes on it along the way. Top Rebel, welcome to Site-42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. And Intern Dapper, long time no see. Hope you've been doing well. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself, I guess, some toast at the commissary because someone replaced you in the canteen. Oh, that's where you've been the whole time. Well, welcome back. Okay. So now, Jeremiah Allen. Yes, I do work for the SCP Foundation. Although if you are asking if the SCP Foundation is real, the answer is no. We never say the SCP Foundation is real because that might institute panic in people who aren't knowledgeable enough to know better. Whew. And guys, remember, if you are on any of the social media platforms that Site-42 is on, Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, you can also share fan art on those as well. I will usually retweet them if I see them. So, yes, we will be fine, even if Discord falls. Now, without further ado, without a little ado, hi Rosehill, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Get yourself a mocha on your way past the commissary. What was that last song playing? If I'm going to check that, I got to check that quick. The song is called Are We There Yet by Slowgramming. Friend of the channel Billith, SCP author and experimental SCP music maker, as well as other music, in Billith's project, Slowgramming, available on SoundCloud, YouTube, and Spotify. You got Tumblr? Oh my god, I haven't used Tumblr in ages. Do I need to resurrect the Site-42 Tumblr? Oh, no. Oh, geez. Oh, what is SCP Tumblr even like these days? I'm not getting distracted again, except for donos. I have to be distracted by donos, but I'm not getting distracted by anything else. Site-42 staff, As always, I tell you my favorite SCPs. These are in no particular order. SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and SCP-8980. Content warning on that last one, it's a bit of a rough read. But speed round, 3999-3043-008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, 5320, 8980. Content warning, last one is a rough read. Site-42 staff, this has been another Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site-42. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. Be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, protect. I'll see you in the next video or stream. Who lost in the words that we scream. I don't even want to do this anymore, 'cause you already know what you mean to me. Damn, I forgot this song entirely. How am I going to sing this song and sing it wrong? Oh, that pains me. Nope, I can't do that. I can't. I will not fail. Give me a moment. One moment. Doing it right. All right, take two. Let's see if I can do this fucking right this time. God damn it. I am to that God. I am calling out to Uber driver Jesus SCP-029-J to drive me away from here if I can't even sing a song right. Ooh, lost in the words that we scream. I don't even want to do this anymore, 'cause you all. Why can't I sing this goddamn song? No. I am trying to learn to sing this song because it's cool, because I'm going to be playing the salsa version for my students because it's really hype and my salsa students are going to love it. But I need to know the stupid song first. Deal with it. I'm going to do it right, damn it. I'm going to do it right. You all will suffer with me through my pain. Intern Gonzalez, I will never settle for mid. Not once. Not never. Rosehill, thank you for donating again to thank me for the caffeine while I struggle. While I struggle so hard. But I don't lose. We all fight and we win. We win. Ooh, lost in the words that we scream. I don't even want to do this anymore, 'cause you already know what you mean to me, and our love's the only one worth fighting for. Wherever you go, that's where I'll follow. Nobody's promised tomorrow. So I'ma love you like every night, like it's the last night, like it's the last night. If the world was ending, I'd wanna be next to you. Close enough. If the party was over and our time on earth was through, I'd want to hold you just for a while. And die with a smile. If the world was ending, I'd want to be next to you. All right, good enough. Good enough. We fought for it, and you know what? Passable. Passable. I'll accept it. Be safe, be well, Side 42 staff. I broke a sweat trying to sing that song. I am drenched over here, but I was dancing, I was jamming. We are here together, and I will see you again tomorrow. Be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, protect.